First of all, remember with questions like this one that's asking about the primary purpose of the passage, that we should always save these whole passage questions for last, because we want to either make sure we read the passage if we're using the no reading strategy that I advocate, or even if we did read the passage, we're not really qualified to answer this right away. We should do all the other questions in this passage first, reread a large chunk of it, get more information about the main ideas, and then come into this question when we have the most information we ever will about the passage. So assuming we've done all that, then we can look at this and start to sort through the choices with some process of elimination here. So my first go-through is very quick. I'm not looking to find the right answer right away. I'm just kind of getting rid of junk. So choice A, discuss recent findings concerning scientific studies. It's definitely about scientific studies. And dispute a widely held belief about the publication of social science research. So widely held belief scares me. That's a phrase that I've seen a lot of times on SAT questions, and it's almost always wrong. And this part, though, is right, though. Publication, it's definitely talking about how they're published. So for now, I would just say, okay, it's not my favorite. I don't like that one phrase, but it seems to hit the highlights. Choice B, explain a common practice in the reporting of research studies and summarize a study that provides support for a change to that practice. Well, yeah, it talks about how they publish them, the null results, and at the end of the passage, there was a whole question about the last paragraph. They talk about some solutions and how to change things. So that part also sounds pretty good, but that word common, kind of strong. I don't love it. Let's keep going. C, describe the shortcomings in current approaches to medical trials and recommend the implementation of a government database. Well, these two words are very specific. If they were removed, I honestly think this would be the answer. Describe the shortcomings in current approaches to trials, to experimental trials. Yeah, it's about research, and it's about a shortcoming of how we don't publish everything that we should. And recommend the implementation of a database. Yeah, they said that there should be a database so that all the researchers are putting all their information in the same place. But medical trials, this passage was not about medical trials. And they didn't really say that it was a government database, or at least it wasn't a big part of it. So there you go. It's a good example of how strong words can do a lot of damage. 90% of this choice is correct. But those two words cancel everything out, and that's enough to get rid of it. So I would be very confident that's wrong, even though a large part of it seems very right. Choice D. Provide context as part of a call for stricter controls on social science research and challenge publishers to alter their mindsets. I have no idea what this means. Alter their mindsets. What? And the first part seems really strong too. A call for stricter controls on social science research. It's about one aspect of the research. It's not about controlling all of it. So this is just too much. So this is what happens a lot of times. I go through my first pass, I get rid of the junk choices, and then I'm left with one or two left that seem maybe like they could be right. Both of them seem to suffer from the same problem. Widely held belief, common practice, these are very strong phrases. Now if I go to the blurb for this passage, I maybe have some evidence that those things might be justified. The title is Why Null Results Rarely See the Light of Day. So if they're rarely being published, it seems that a common practice would be to not publish them. So I've got some evidence. And look, I did read most of this passage through the other questions, so I got the sense that this is a problem that is in a lot of places. So maybe I have some evidence for that. But if I had to choose just based on the strong words, I would choose B anyway, because widely held belief is to me a stronger phrase than common practice. But we shouldn't have to just choose on that. Let's look at choice A again. Discuss recent findings concerning scientific studies and dispute a widely held belief about the publication of social science research. Well, the widely held belief, I guess, would be that the null results do not get published. But they're not disputing that belief. It's true that they don't get published. And the rest of the passage is talking about why that's a problem and what we need to do to remedy that problem. Disputing a belief is saying that the belief is not true. This passage is not undermining the belief. It is taking the belief and saying, here's what we need to do about it. That fits more with B, explaining the common practice. This is the thing that we do. We don't publish these studies. It's common that we don't publish them. And then summarizing a study that provides support for a change. Here's why that's bad. Here's why we need to change it. That's the rest of the passage. So B matches better. I think I only noticed that on the second pass through, and that is okay. You don't need to be definitive every time you read something. You can just put it aside, table the topic, come back to it. Sometimes it doesn't matter because everything else is so bad that the one you were kind of iffy on ends up being right just because it's what's left. Other times we have a couple choices left, and then we can look more closely at them, narrow our focus, and see what makes them different. Let's narrow our focus to that difference and see if we can find that spot in the passage or whatever it may be. Here, I don't think I need to read any more of the passage to get this because I've done questions that kind of hit on this topic. But yeah, that's why these ones are hard. Sometimes they're very similar answer choices, but we use strong words to kind of separate them and see which ones are better.